Ever feel like your ability to focus is just gone? In a world that's basically designed to distract us, it's a real struggle. Well, today we're cracking open the user's guide to your brain. We're going to explore the real neuroscience behind what we call focus power. Let's get into it. So, let me ask you something straight up. When you catch yourself scrolling through your phone instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing, what's the first thing you think? Do you blame yourself? Like, oh, I just have no willpower. You're not alone. That feeling of failing, just because our minds wander, is super common. But what if that's the wrong way to think about it entirely? I mean, what if focus isn't some moral failing or a character trait? What if it's actually all about your brain's biology, its chemistry, its wiring, and its energy levels? That's the huge idea we're digging into here, that focus is a system you can learn to manage. All right, so first things first, we've got to bust the biggest myth right out of the gates. We're calling it the willpower myth. You know, when scientists talk about focus power, they're not talking about some magical inner strength. It's way more practical than that. They're talking about a very specific set of jobs your brain has to do. Things like holding your attention on one thing, ignoring all the noise, stopping yourself from checking that notification, and, well, remembering what you were just doing. It's a real, measurable process. And that right there is the first big mental shift for us. See, focus isn't just one little light bulb switching on in your head. No way. It's more like a whole team of different brain networks, all working together in perfect sync. So, that's our cue for section 2. Let's actually meet this team. It's time to take a look under the hood at your brain's actual focus system. Okay, so thanks to modern brain scans, we know there are 3 main players on this team. First up, you've got the executive control network. Just think of this as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of that deep, heads-down, serious work. Then you've got the salience network. This is your lookout, your bouncer. It's constantly scanning the environment going, is that important? Should we pay attention to that? And last, but definitely not least, is the default mode network, or the DMN. This is the daydreamer. It's the one that takes over when your mind starts to wander. And here is the absolute game changer, the big aha moment from all the research. Getting into a state of peak focus, it isn't about forcing your CEO network to grind harder. Nope, it's actually about telling the daydreamer network to quiet down. So think about that. Concentration is just as much about what your brain stops doing as what it starts doing. Okay, so if it's all about managing these networks, the big question is, how do we actually do that? Well, that leads us right into section 3, training your attention muscle. It all starts with your brain's chemistry, and one chemical in particular, dopamine. Now, you might think, oh, more dopamine, better focus, right? But it turns out that's not right at all. It's a super delicate balancing act. If you have too little, you feel tired, you can't focus, but if you have too much, you get all anxious and your thoughts are just scattered everywhere. So the real secret is finding what scientists call the Goldilocks zone. It's not too little, not too much, but just right. They have a name for this. It's the inverted U curve. The goal is to get just the right amount of dopamine for peak performance. It's all about balance, not just blasting your brain with more. And this is where the training part really gets exciting. This whole idea taps into one of the biggest discoveries in neuroscience ever, neuroplasticity. It's the simple fact that your brain isn't fixed. It can physically change. And your ability to focus, it acts just like a muscle. Use it, and it gets stronger. Ignore it, and it gets weaker. And the cool part is, we have hard science that shows us exactly how to train this muscle. Things like meditation, they've been shown to physically make your prefrontal cortex, the CEO we talked about, thicker. And when you do periods of deep, focused work, you are literally strengthening the connections, the synapses, between your brain cells, making everything run faster and more efficiently. It's a real physical upgrade to your brain's hardware. So what does a workout plan for your brain actually look like? It's pretty simple, really, just 2 steps. Step 1, strengthen those connections. This means chunks of deep, uninterrupted work. The science says the sweet spot is anywhere from 25 to about 90 minutes. Then, step 2, restore the balance. Take a real break. Let those neurotransmitters recharge. It's the exact same principle as working out at the gym, a cycle of stress, then recovery. But wait, there's one more critical piece to this whole puzzle. And honestly, this one changes everything. Section 4 is all about energy, not laziness. Get this, your brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it's an absolute energy hog. It uses up something like 20% of your body's fuel. And that intense focus we're talking about, that's one of the most energy-draining things you can ask it to do. It needs a ton of fuel, glucose, oxygen, just to keep going. So think about the last time you hit that wall. That feeling where you just cannot focus for one more second. That wasn't you being lazy. That was a real physical event in your brain called cognitive fatigue. It's literally your brain sending up a flare saying, hey, I'm running out of fuel down here. And if you're not sleeping well, it's even worse because your brain can't do its nightly cleanup. So here's the bottom line. What feels like a personal failing is often just a biological problem, an energy problem.
All right, let's pull all these threads together now. Let's talk about the future of focus.
This chart really says it all, doesn't it? Look at the shift. The old belief, focus is a talent, you've either got it or you don't. The scientific breakthrough? No, focus is a skill you can train. Old belief, just try harder, more effort equals more focus. The breakthrough? Nope, balance equals more focus. And maybe the biggest one of all, we used to think failing to focus was a mental weakness. Now we know it's often a biological issue. It's about energy and chemistry. And that all leads us to the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. I want you to really let this sink in. Focus power is not willpower. It's a neurobiological skill. It's something shaped by your brain's networks, your body's chemistry, your energy levels, and, the most hopeful part of all, by how you choose to train it. So I'll leave you with this thought. The old excuses, they're kind of gone now. It's not about being at the mercy of willpower anymore. You've just been handed the user's guide to your own brain. So the only real question is, what are you going to do with it? How will you train your focus?